You just painted a picture for me. Mike Henry in a media training scenario. I can't imagine that. I love his straight talk. Here we go. Cooper Murray on pole position alongside Simon Fallon. Jimmy Vernon, based on the points accumulated so far for the race meeting, potentially may finish the day here at Winton on the podium. That would be a good story.
It would be a terrific result. Max Vidal, a really good recovery weekend for him to fourth. Tom Taplin, best ever so far to fifth. Watch for Chelsea Angelo to make moves forward in this race. A great recovery drive earlier today with good tyre condition for this one. Marcel Zalua leads the way in the Pro-Am battle in front of Sam Fillmore. Brett Bolton, another recovery drive. It's been the theme this weekend, in case you hadn't noticed. And the same can be said for Christian Pancioni, who goes from 10.
Now, I should point out, as we take a look at the rest of the grid here for the final one for the day, 12 laps coming up, as Cam said, for the Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge. When you're busy and you're working at a race meeting, you don't get a lot of spare time, but I can tell you that Richard Craill has been shopping. He's been shopping.
No.
He's just come into the commentary box here. Am I right in saying that you may have just bought a few bits or organised some bits for the 944?
I was just down talking to Chris Lewis-Williams, who's been heavily involved in the 944 challenge for a while.
Excellent.
It is Father's Day. I'm the very proud father of a very poor example of a 944. And no, just down getting the lay of the land, Rusty, just seeing what's available.
I'm sure a few little things may suddenly turn up in the post.
What a
We love that. We love that. We love that. Let's focus on the racing, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you're watching and enjoying the coverage live. Shannons Nationals TV. Send your comments. Let us know what you're up to on Father's Day and on social media as well, using the hashtag Shannons Nats. It's a glorious day here. The temperature was quite cool when we arrived this morning, about 3 degrees, and these guys were one of the first categories to hit the track, and that resulted, because of those perfect conditions, because of the work they've done here at Winton, in lap record pace. It was a joy to watch, wasn't it?
Simon Fallon may not have won the race, but he has got bragging rights now. 1:21.65, broke a 2-year-old lap record. It was held by Hamish Hardiman, another Sonic Motor Racing young gun through that Sonic system, so he's got the lap record. But the stakes for this are actually quite easy to read. We often sit down and you need an abacus to work out who's going to win the round. If Cooper Murray wins this race, he wins the round. If Simon Fallon wins this race, he wins the round. It's that simple. And whoever wins the race and wins the round leads the championship going into the final round. And I think there's nothing better than that momentum leading it into the final 3 races of the year at Sydney Motorsport Park this September.
I have limited grey matter. That works for me.
I'm exactly the same. Incredible. Yeah, no, it's
been a great story, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And to think that we're going to go into the last round in a couple of weeks' time with a nail-biter, and all these youngsters taking aim at, we hope, a big step up in 2019. I mean, it's been a phenomenal year, and we're hearing that the numbers in both Carrera Cup and this may only continue to grow next year, so that's tremendous.
Yeah, more new cars coming into Porsche Wilson Security Carrera Cup next season. There's young guns coming into this category next year, and drivers stepping up from Class B into the outright fight. Where are we? Final race, 12 laps is the distance at Winton Raceway. A better start, the best start of his weekend for Cooper Murray, who gets into turn 1 first. It's busy though. Off the road is Max Vidal. He's slow and will be passed by Chelsea Angelo as they run down into turn 3. Fallon had a moment, goes round the outside at turn 3. Enormous move for the Sonic driver. Couldn't quite pull it off, and Cooper Murray will lead. But that was a wild, wild exchange between those two.
Dynamite start by Chelsea Angelo, picks up a couple of spots, now in 5th place behind Max Vidal. Nice recovery by Max. It was awkward coming through those first couple of corners. He's regathered, sits in 4th, but it's Vernon in 3rd. Around.
Brett Bolton spins and Sam Fillmore takes evasive action. And Dan Day, the luckiest driver in the field at the moment, takes evasive and just drives through it, Days of Thunder style. He was really, really lucky, the young South Australian, but he's got some spots there. Brett Bolton spun in front of the field and wasn't collected by everyone, selected first gear and drove off. So there's been some near misses on this opening lap, but everyone's still pointing in the right direction.
You can do it, Cole. I believe it.
You drive through it. Wow, that was Dan Day's viewpoint. We're going to need to replay the full first lap to dissect all of that. There was a bit going on, and Fallon just grabbing a break on cold Michelin tyres into turn 11. So he got good drive out of turn 2, Rusty, and sailed around the outside at 3 on Cooper Murray, but that critical racing line for Cooper held on, and he was able to hold the lead. So one busy lap down. Murray, Fallon, Vernon 3rd, Vidal 4th, Angela up to 5th. Tom Taplin rounds out the top 6.
Fallon was deep under brakes into 1 that time as he chases Cooper Murray watching the field make their way through. Great track, this one. Looks relatively... We went up into race control before during the GT race. You can see so much of the 3K layout as the 76 comes through. That's Christian Pancioni into 9th place now. Good move. Remember, he is in the oldest generation car, Class B, and continuing to do some great things against those in newer cars.
And just got up the inside of Marcel Zalua. Now, Marcel can afford to be a little bit conservative in this race. Tommy Taplin, it's the first mistake he's made all weekend. The teenager from Adelaide just runs a little bit wide over the exit curb at 6 and spins the Taplin real estate car. What a shame. Was running 5th. To finish my point, Zalua is in the box seat to wrap up the Pro-Am round victory. If he can do that, he'll be the 5th different winner from 5 rounds in the Pro-Am class this year. So he's not fighting with Pancioni. He can afford to let him through. His target needs to be Michael Lochisano, who's in front, and Michael Hovey, who's just behind.
You look at the body language from the car of Max Vidal. He's fired up after making that blue at turn 1, chasing hard, chasing Jimmy Vernon. You could see the car as it came into the final sector, climbing some of the curves. He is pushing hard here at the moment.
So Cooper Murray, he's got officially 0.8 of a second. It's about 5 car lengths to Simon Fallon. This is the fight as it was in race 2. Now Max Vidal goes, and Jimmy just turns the car in early and covers his line. Blocking rules have been very clear in this category this year. Stephen Johnson, the very successful racer in his own right, a podium finisher on the mountain, has laid down the law. You can make one move to defend your line. Once you've made that move, that's where you stay. You have to commit to that to get into the corner. Here's the start. So good start for Cooper. A little bit wide there into turn 1.
Ooh, was there contact with Vernon? I'd need to have a look at that replay again.
Lightest of little rubs, perhaps. And Vidal was lucky to not be passed by Angelo in the run into turn 3. This is further up. So Bolton got the curb, so it was the inside curb, not the outside. And Fillmore spun completely in evasive action. There was no contact there. He just dived the car to the inside and ended up spinning around. And Brett Bolton didn't actually lose that much ground. He's only dropped back to 12th place from 7th. That was Tom Taplin. So he ran wide through that really tricky change of direction there, Rusty, into turn 7, out over that exit curb, and an unfortunate mistake there for Tom, and he's dropped back to 20th position, but it's still been a really promising weekend for the young gun.
So Vidal continues to apply the blowtorch to Vernon. That's for 3rd position. Angelo doing a good job in 5th, ahead of Dan Day. But the race being led by Cooper Murray. 1 second over Simon Fallon. He's looking left, he's looking right. He just can't find a way. Is he going to try the over and under here? Is this going to work for Max Vidal? Can't quite get it done. Gee, it looked good for a moment off the exit of the corner on the run into turn 4, didn't it?
And that's what we were talking about that blocking rule. Jimmy covered his line into turn 3. He had to stay there, so he was compromised. He covered his line and saved the position into turn 3, but because he turned in from a shallower entry point into the corner, he was slower through it. That allowed Max to have a run. So they're very strict on that one move and one move only. And that's an internationally accepted rule. And it's been adopted by Porsche Racing this year. Carrera Cup race director James Taylor and Stephen Johnson, the driver standards advisor, working very hard on driver standards this year. And I think it's paying off, and that was proof that it's working.
The thing I like about Stevie's style is it's not just a matter of laying down the law. He's great in a coaching sense for these youngsters, isn't he?
Yeah. Yep. Like a football coach just going, okay, guys, what are we doing next? How do we improve the product we're trying to put forward? It's not about the rap on the knuckles. It's the educational experience. And you've got young guys who are learning and coming up to speed, Pro-Am racers who don't have that junior driver experience. So everyone's learning in this category. Christian Pancioni's learning how to make some overtakes, isn't he? That's just 7th.
Mega. Take a closer look at the start. Let's see if we can get a bit more clarity on Vidal versus Vernon in the background. So Cooper gets the jump. Nice work. Watch this.
No, he slid all on his own. So he turned in from the outside of the road. So maybe got into the marbles a little bit. Just had a slide. I don't think there was contact there.
Okay.
It was interesting, that next phase there, because...
Bottled everyone up, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. And Cooper was quite slow out of turn 2 and almost got wrapped up at 3. This battle's been going for, we're 4 laps into this, 12 laps in race 1. So, almost 18 laps of racing now. These two have been locked together. Matt, check out. I think it does. And Simon Fallon's going out after the leader. So, that Sonic car seems to be coming on as the race develops. It seems to be better late in the motor race. And Fallon now, currently the fastest man on the racetrack. 1.1 the gap Murray leads, Fallon next, Vernon third. This is the battle for third and fourth place. Chelsea Angelo is still fifth, Dan Day is sixth. Pancioni leads Class B and is an outstanding seventh outright. And then we go back to Lochisano and Danny Studdert. Brett Bolton rounds out the top 10.
I think racing shows a different side to Max Vidal's personality, doesn't it? He's a
tenacious,
tall, quietly spoken guy, but once he pulls that helmet on, he is exactly right. Tenacious, that's a great word for it.
Formula Ford champion last year. Great South Aussie family. They've been involved in the sport for a long time. A lot of local support to their racing program as well. So there's Jimmy defending. This time just moves back across slightly, and they won't like that too much. And now the over-under. Didn't work the last time. What about this time for Max Vidal? How hard does he commit? Well, he committed pretty hard in the end, but had to back out of it because otherwise there would have been contact. And even though Jimmy Vernon was off the racing line, had Max got into Jimmy and turned him around, it would have been a penalty for the Sonic driver.
Quality racing from these two youngsters happening here at Winton. Half race distance at the moment. It's allowing, as Richard Craill goes to the timing screen, it's allowing Chelsea Angelo into this battle. Look at her looming in the background. Nice work, fifth position. And her story has been one of recovery. Some dramas yesterday. Some damage to the steering rack and to the car. They worked overnight to rebuild it, charged through off the start, virtually from the rear of the grid in today's earlier race, was inside the top 10 by the end of it, now up into fifth place. Great work.
This is a cool fight. This is the battle for Pro-Am. The class lead, Michael Lochisano's in the Hallmark car, red, silver and black livery, and it's getting passed by Danny Studdert, who goes down the inside at 10 and grabs the class lead. Brett Bolton is just behind, and Marcel Zalua has dropped back to fourth in class in this race. He should still be okay to win the class as Vidal goes down the inside. Got news from pit lane in a sec. We'll follow this battle in the meantime. Wheel to wheel. Vernon was on the inside. Vidal on the racing line this time, sweeps around and finally wrestles third spot away from Jimmy Vernon. Great racing, but Vernon down the inside just gets through. Great racing. Well done, Max Vidal. It took him 2.5 races, but he's finally cleared Jimmy Vernon. He's into third place.
Cam?
Yeah, great action out on track. And I thought, seeing as I've spoken to Sonic and Ash Seawood Motorsport, I would speak to Wall Racing, Dave Wall, Chelsea Angelo. She's just growing as a driver, isn't she?
Yeah, look, very much so. She was very unfortunate yesterday with the Pro Lewis leads there. Had a problem off the line, and she did everything she could to get around him, and unfortunately clipped it and gave her a DNF. But yeah, we really took a big step in driving and the way she goes about a motorsport from Queensland Raceway on, or maybe even Sandown on. So yeah, she's doing a good job, and she came back through the field there from last to sixth, so it goes to show she's obviously pretty speedy.
And just quickly, we've talked about Sonic and Ash Seawood Motorsport in Carrera Cup. Your team's really got a bit of momentum about it at the moment. Yeah,
it does. I mean, the team's had 3 straight poles so far, so we're definitely quick enough. We just need to be able to have maybe a little bit of luck back on our side again, and once we do that, I feel we can take home some silver again, which we've probably been lacking the last couple of rounds with through no real fault of our own.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Looking forward to seeing what he rocks up to the Gold Coast in for the Carrera Cup Awards. I'm hearing a little bit through the grapevine. It might be a Hollywood theme this year.
Yes, it is.
What do you plan to wear, Richard?
Ask me that question on the red carpet, Rusty, as we go. This is a terrific bit of racing and great respect shown as well, I thought. Just on the edge of having enough racing room there when Vidal was on the gripped up side of the road. So that's the racing line. So we've got great traction out of turn 2. Swept across in front here. Chelsea's watching this going, go on, feed each other off the road, I'll take you both. And then Jimmy, as Vidal had a slide on the exit, Vernon just committed, went down the inside, wasn't quite hard enough or far enough down to do it. And probably getting that curb didn't help the cause. So it took 4 corners for Max Vidal to get past. Really good, clean, hard racing though.
Shoe was on the other foot for Vernon in that example, but respect to both of them. Hard, good, fair racing between those youngsters. Look at Angelo now, looking strong. Can she dive down the inside here in these final looks to the outside? Swings there.
Now this is important for Jimmy Vernon.
For the round, yeah.
By my maths, if he stays where he is, he'll get third for the round. If he doesn't, if Chelsea gets by, he'll drop off the podium and it'll hand third overall to Max Vidal. So this is a crucial little battle in the context of the overall round standings. Turn 1, Chelsea down the inside, not deep enough yet.
Fighting. Vernon fighting. We know that he's been fighting to keep his spot in this championship. Has got some support from various backers, particularly within the McElrea Racing fold. It's been terrific. So he's been able to continue his campaign. Be wonderful to see him finish on the podium here. Angelo, I reckon this is a little tap. Hey, I'm here.
Yep, certainly was. Just the lightest of contact. Have to be careful with that because anything harder, it'll damage the radiator. It just sits in behind that front air dam and the coolant will disappear quickly and that will end your race. Wall Racing, you heard from David and Cameron in pit lane, are on fire at the moment. He mentioned 3 straight poles, James. Moffat finally got a Carrera Cup pole last time out. They have been really, really quick. And what's more, the next round of Cup Challenge is at Sydney Motorsport Park, their home racetrack, and their cars were superb there when Carrera Cup raced there at the Supercars Night event a couple of weeks ago. So the final round of this year's Cup Challenge could see car 38 towards the front of the field.
Nice to see James Moffat smiling too and enjoying that. And happy Father's Day if he's watching. He's a proud dad.
He is, yeah. Really nice to see Moff enjoying his Carrera Cup racing. As Wally said, luck hasn't gone their way. A round win will not be too far away in their future, you would have thought. So Cooper Murray and Simon Fallon continue to lead the way, and they're trading fastest lap times out in front. The gap now 2.5 though, and Cooper Murray looks like he's got this one sussed. Simon Fallon next, then Max Vidal third, and pulling away from this fight. It's the best battle on the racetrack. Jimmy Vernon, young guy from Sydney who raced Formula Ford for several seasons, then jumped up into Cam's Pace Formula 4, moved across to Porsche Racing. He's raced production cars as well. In fact, drove really well in the Bathurst 6 Hour this year in a Mitsubishi Lancer Evo. Very, very impressive drive. Charged his way through the field. And then Chelsea Angelo in 5th place.
You've got to say, he's done a tremendous job to keep Max Vidal behind him for as long as he did. Look at the advantage that Vidal has over him now in third. It's nearly 4 seconds. So Vidal clearly had a fast car. Good defensive work, fair defensive work by Vernon.
Agree completely. And I wonder if all that defensive driving has just taken the edge off his tyres compared to those around him. That's why he might be struggling late in the third and final race of the weekend.
So Murray, 2.4 seconds over Fallon, and the big question mark is who will finish third for the weekend. If Chelsea Angelo is able to sneak by Jimmy Vernon and she's battling hard with him, that could change the outcome of the podium. That final spot could go Max Vidal's way.
This battle is the fight for the Pro-Am class victory. Daniel Studdard in front. Brett Bolton next. They're 8th and 9th on the road at the moment. Christian Pancioni, the Class B leader, just in front. This is for the race win. Marcel Zalua, at the way it rolls, will still win the round for the class at the moment. So the DNFs for these two drivers in yesterday's Jim Richards Enduro Trophy race will really cost them in the round results. This is a bit of bragging rights. Who can be first in the final race of the weekend? There was a lock-up into turn 1 for Daniel Studdard. Might just open the door for Brett Bolton this lap.
Just looking at the times that Pancioni, who's in 7th, is reeling off. I mean, he's doing 1 minute, low 1 minute 23s. I can recall at the peak of Craig Baird's powers in that particular car, doing very similar lap times around here. That's super impressive.
It really is. And this is what we've got to look forward to in this category. The Porsche pyramid of racing in Australia is as strong as it's ever been. You've seen the racing in Carrera Cup this season. It's as intense and fiercely competitive as it's ever been. And this year, the Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge has taken an enormous leap forward. There's drivers progressing through, and we'd sort of unofficially call it the Matt Campbell pathway. And Christian Pancioni's following that because Matt Campbell started in a Class B car. He stepped up into an A-Class car, then into Carrera Cup, now into Super Cup, and he's won the last 2 rounds, thank you very much, of the FIA World Endurance Championship.
Unbelievable story in itself, and I reckon the naming rights that you've just christened it, that'll get traction. That's a great name for it. Back to the battle for what could decide third for the round. Vernon maybe struggling, as Richard pointed out, just with those tyres and tyre life. Angelo looks aggressive. Can she find a way past? Vernon clinging, hanging on to what should be that final spot on the day. It's amazing if he can do it.
Just a little bit of contact there in the middle of turn 3. There was a little touch, but it was just as Vernon's car checked up mid-corner because it was on that defensive line. They are on the final lap. Cooper Murray out in front, 3.6 the margin now. I think Fallon's just gone into conservative mode just to bring it home, get on the podium, bank the points and go to the final round. This is crucial though. This will decide the third and final step on the round podium here at Winton. And Jimmy Vernon has had a blowtorch applied for 2 races today. He's done a superb job in defensive driving.
Here he is, Cooper Murray, final corner. The Ash Seawood team, Barry Hay, all of the crew, they will be elated with this. He takes the championship lead into the final round. Cooper Murray, there's Barry. Fallon will push him all the way. Some wise driving by Simon Fallon here. Second in this race, second for the weekend. A nice third place finish by Vidal in the race. He won't finish on the podium. Vernon just gets there over Angelo.
Close.
Awesome
Really
stuff.
close.
Resists the pressure. Great driving by Vernon this weekend. Well done to the McElrea crew there.
A little bit further back, Dan Day across the line in a very excellent sixth position. That, I think, will represent a PB in terms of race results. We can go down for some post-race reaction with Cameron Vanderdungen.
Yeah, I'm just going to grab Barry Hay, who's about to run off. Mate, great weekend from a young man.
It was good. It was good. We were a bit jumpy to start with because obviously the starts are an issue, but that's part of young blokes learning the whole thing. So we're looking strong at that championship. He's doing a good job for a young fella, 16 years old.
Yeah, so it's the end of this round. We've got one more to go. He maintains that lead in the championship. How are you going to keep a lid on him?
He's a pretty calm customer, so it's lucky. Normally these young blokes, you sort of got to put him in a headlock and lock him under the steps at home, but he's a pretty cool character, so yeah, he's got it together for his age. I think he'll be fine.
It's great to watch you and Ash and the whole team. You're really riding this journey with this young man, aren't you?
Yeah, it's good. It's exciting because you get them so young and they've done nothing, and you know, you put them in a car and they show they've got that X factor, and then they get better every time you put them in the car, and they make mistakes like they're supposed to, and they learn and they get better, and it's a rewarding process. It's good.
All right, Baz, I'll let you go back and celebrate. Richard, and I can also tell you, Rusty, these guys genuinely rate this young driver.
Yeah, they do, Cam, to the point where that X factor that Barry's talking about, he works with him not just in an engineering sense, not just in a racing sense. He knows about the need for Cooper to show personality, a bit like a Russell Ingall's done over time. He's got to be his own man, Cooper Murray, no doubt about that. But he's helping, Barry is helping in that regard as well, and helping him walk that road.
It's nice they've let him out from the cupboard under the stairs. Bit of Harry Potter there for Cooper Murray. Young guy going places. Simon Fallon second, Max Vidal third. That great battle with Jimmy Vernon and Chelsea Angelo next. Just cast your eye to the bottom of the results table. Daniel Studdard, Marcel Zalura and Michael Lochisano were having an almighty battle as they crossed the line. And Lochisano edged out Hovey by 6/100ths of a second.